Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the fifth of 8 sessions of Uncharted Worlds. We're using the draft playtest materials for the second edition that Sean Gomes is working on, with some bits and pieces that I've kind of grafted in to fill gaps where the playtest materials haven't gone yet. We are playing in a slightly constrained cluster of stars, which the players have helped construct. This is a space opera game, and so far it's been pretty operatic, I think, in terms of plenty of stuff going on. This game, like most of my games, was organized as part of the Gauntlet Online community's monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and find out more about us. If you'd like to try playing with the Gauntlet, then the next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming begins on Thursday, the 24th of March. RSVPs, taking places opened on the 1st of March, so it could be that there are still some places available. Go to the Gauntlet website and you can find a way to the GCOG calendar and perhaps pick a game you might enjoy. If you want to go further than that and support the Gauntlet and its podcasts, publishing, etc., then you will find us that the Gauntlet has a Patreon, and if you'd like to support, that'd be great. So that's the sales pitch done. We are playing with layered safety tools. So we're playing with lines and veils in the X card. We're also playing with the open door, and we're playing within the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. And I'm not going to go into detail of that. You want the detail of those, you can go back and look at an earlier, the original or first couple of sessions. All of these players have played a lot with me, and so we all understand one another and what those safety tools mean. So that's the spiel done. Let's introduce our characters. Let's, for fun, go from right to left on the character keeper. So Joe, who normally gets to sit on his hands until everybody said something. Joe, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Gema.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm he, him. My character is Gema. She is a sort of a military gal from an order of sort of elite mercenaries, Spartan-like type society, but she has abandoned and betrayed that society and is now out making her own way with these other cowboys. And so yeah, that's Gema. I think Gema's. I think I am committed to maybe some softening up of Gema over the next couple of sessions. So maybe a little less sad.
Yeah, I mean, she has been the sad kid, hasn't she, really, so far?
Sad tomato, that is for sure.
Yeah. Let's move along. Gray, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Riley Perihelion.
Hi, my name is Gray. My pronouns are they and them. And I am playing Riley Perihelion, who is a former science superstar who fell out of public favor after becoming obsessed with a fringe theory about the slipstream. And they're now very excited because they have found a particle of slipstream matter and are studying it in all of their spare time.
Great. Finally, Pavel, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Harper Sureshot Wilkerson.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I'm playing Harper. Harper Sureshot. We both use pronoun he, him. Harper is coming from the future, a very corpo R&D place, but he considers himself to be the biggest cowboy there is, even challenging the local cowboys in the horse riding competition, which went really poorly to him. But he's also a true space ninja in his invisibility suit, shooting some bad guys and presenting himself as a secret service of the local warlords. So yeah, he's a multifaceted good guy.
Sneaking up on bank robbers last time, not bank robbers, train robbers last time, and appearing to speak from thin air. That advanced technology really kind of confused them. So those are our characters. Let me go back round. Gema, on the previously on the cluster, is there something you want to highlight from last time that would be in that previously montage?
Well, she punched a dinosaur, so that was pretty interesting.
She did. She did. No, that's you can't beat that. She did indeed punch a dinosaur. It didn't go terribly well and ended up being head-butted out of a train. But you know, it was the thought that counts. Gray, what about Riley? What do you want in that montage?
Riley initially failed to impress the locals, but then made it all up at karaoke night.
Yes, we had karaoke in a Zandoran saloon, and Pavel, you've given us a flavour of Sureshot, but was there anything else you wanted to put in the montage other than what you've given us already?
I think there was the great moment of the total cowboyism when the Sureshot is standing in front of this huge cage with the lasso getting ready to like capture the beast, while everyone else is just on top getting ready to tranquilize it through some hole in the top. Like a complete misunderstanding of the intentions, but so Sureshot.
Yeah, it was delightful as you sought to transport either a small T-Rex type dinosaur or a very large velociraptor type dinosaur illegally to delivery in Zandora. And I think that we will open in let's call the town Equinox on Zandora, and you will see a large truck disappearing across the plains with the container in which you have transported this dinosaur disappearing over the horizon as you are stood by the Equinox train station, finally having got paid. So I am about to move to ship and wealth, and you will now get paid another 2. So you'll notice that you have now filled the green scraping by another 1, and you will be breaking even. Gee whiz. So that's where we are at the moment. Shore leave then in the town of Equinox. Let's keep the sequence going in terms of let's start with Gema. How is Gema going to make use of a bit of shore leave? Oh no, let's do the XP flags first. Sorry, I got carried away then. So let's check out where we got in terms of those XP triggers. But again, I will start with Gema. So Gema, I carried my burden for good or ill. Did your burden raise its head last time?
I didn't think so. We didn't really have any stuff with her abandoning stuff this time around, so I didn't really think so.
I think you did suffer a loss, a defeat, or a setback. Being head-butted out of a train by a dinosaur does count as that. So I claimed a victory for myself and the ship. Well, you did end up managing between you and Riley putting a dinosaur to sleep. So that cannot not count, can it? So I think that was fine. I championed an ally and let them shine. I think I've got something for that, but what do you think?
Well, after the session, I was thinking to myself a little bit about how Riley and Gema work together in that, right? And that's sort of a bond I think we're explore a little, but I think, having, working together like that, I think maybe was what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, I at one point I seem to remember that Riley fell off the side of this derailed train, and you drew the attention of that dinosaur. So I think I'd mark that one as well. So that's 3 of them. So you can clear those and add 3 to your XP track. The next improvement, because I think all of you have had 1 improvement, so the next improvement will cost you 10 XP. So you're on the way. Let's move on to Riley. I carried my burden for good or ill.
It didn't really come up unless the lack of study of the dinosaur because of studying the thing, that seems like a stretch.
No, I think that's fair because you took too little notice of the dinosaur until it began to get frisky. So no, I think that's fair. So carried your burden for good or ill, that fascination with the slip matter. I suffered a loss, a defeat, or a setback. Well, at the moment, I think you are currently suffering from burns, having fallen off a train into some burning wreckage. So I think that undoubtedly counts. I claimed a victory for myself and the ship. What have you got in mind? I think I've got something, but I'm curious.
Like, I guess I helped with the whole dinosaur situation.
Yeah, you invented from very little in terms of hardware store availabilities a dinosaur tranquilizer gun, so which worked twice, I think. We can't do better than that. So I think claimed a victory for myself and the ship. What about championed an ally and let them shine?
I'm not sure.
I can think of something. When you sent your drone off to distract the dinosaur away from you and Gema, allowing the pair of you to cooperate to then use the homemade tranquilizer gun a second time. So I think that's a valid call. So I think you mark all 4 of those, transfer them across to the XP track, and then clear the triggers. Finally, let's talk to Sureshot. Carried your now. Have you got 2 in there because you did that after the session, Pavel, or are those 2 from a previous? Because you missed a session.
I marked them as we were going.
Fine.
After the wonderful horse race.
That's right, because your burden, and I quote, keenly aware of one's own superiority. I could out horse ride local cowboys, despite the fact that I've never actually ridden a horse, but I've seen it done.
Of course. I've done it in the VR, and it was like so easy.
So yeah, suffered a loss, a defeat, or a setback because you fell off that horse. In fact,
yes.
took some stress. I claimed a victory for myself and the ship. What do you think?
I'm not sure if stopping the bank robbery is somehow, if stopping the train robbery is somehow a victory for us, but maybe the locals will owe us a little bit. I don't know.
I think you did. The others were busy with a dinosaur. You were left to foil a train robbery all on your own. So absolutely, I think you claimed a victory for yourself and the ship. What about I championed an ally and let them shine?
I found a doctor who was then able to work with Riley to create the tranquilizer gun. So I found the means that then Riley can use to deal with the problem.
Absolutely. So I think mark all 4, transfer them across the XP track, and then clear them until the next downtime. Great. So I don't think anybody's quite in a position for another improvement yet, but you're on your way. Okay. So then now we're into shore leave proper. So I'll go back to my original question for Joe. How do we see Gema spending some shore leave in the Zandor? And this is, town, city. This is a big place. This isn't that kind of one-horse town that you were in previously.
Well, I think practicality wise, I think she wants to find some medical attention. And obviously, Riley can make her, but maybe make her own. Obviously, I don't want to make decisions for her, but if maybe they together would go do that, but because we're both pretty messed up, but otherwise I don't want to speak for her, but that's definitely what she's going to do. She's going to look for, they're going to look for some sort of medical attention.
Okay, so when you take time off to explore and experience a society, roll 2d6. I don't think the locale is particularly strange or hostile. In fact, I think it's quite friendly to you. So I'm going to let you roll that with advantage, because I think you're right. Harper is right that actually you are the heroes of the hour in the sense of having foiled a train robbery.
Okay.
So it's a flat roll, isn't it? So it's, what's the best? That's a 7. Am I looking at 7?
Yeah.
So choose, it says on a 7 to 9, choose an opportunity and the GM will introduce it. You also recover. So I think that medical attention means that those ribs are splinted and recovered. I think you're probably going to spend a week or 2 here. just to make sure those injuries are reasonably recovered. So you can recover those kind of broken ribs. They're probably now bruised and stiff, but Gemma's a tough gal. So what do you want me to introduce? A friendly face, help wanted, you get a lead on a new mission or opportunity, or word on the street?
I am going to say word on the street. So I imagine because they are a bit beat up, they're going to probably spend time in the watering holes and whatnot, just kind of, and you hear things and kind of get a that's part of what I kind of get, when you think about that whole Vanguard and everything. I'm not mechanically speaking, but if you think about like just very good at just kind of reading the room, so to speak, and getting what's going on. So that's the one I'm going to choose. Is
there something that you particularly want the word on the street to be about?
I only had one thought, but I don't know. And if you guys have any ideas, please throw it in. The only thing I could think of was maybe a little more information, like if there's more information about the whole hollow earth or the manufactured nature of these what do we call the planets, I guess.
Well,
that's
okay.
Not a planet, it's a space station. So
I think you will find out more about what Zandoran history has to say about some of this stuff. And I think that based on that and looking at planetary maps, I think that I'll let you have a very good idea of where the stories say people disappear when they travel to the South Pole. And to be honest, the Zandorans are not great explorers. They don't need to explore. They have immense amounts of natural resources at their fingertips, scattered across the planet. And so they are not by their nature explorers. That's probably why they've never been much interested in developing their own kind of space travel. They're content, strangely content, with their pastoral lives on this and the other planets. So I think that it is the South Pole, because I can't remember I don't think last time you got details of where, but I think now you have a very good idea where this area where people historically have disappeared. And then people just stop looking.
Okay.
Okay.
And then so on a recover, is that will they take just the wound off? What I don't remember. Is it one thing that we tick off?
It's one thing. So you are still suffering that stress, and I guess that if you take another bad knock, then it is possible that you could find yourself back with broken ribs. Yeah, because your stress track remains full.
Perfect.
Let's move along to Riley. Riley,
I have to show that our ship has medbay on level 1, which says that we add 1 to recover.
It does. That is very true. Reduce stress by 1. I'd forgotten about the medbay because you have medical equipment yourself. I'm going to assume that you were ferried back to get the shuttle, and the shuttle has caught up with you because I'm not bothered with another train trip. So thanks for the reminder. So you're not as stressed as you were, Gemma. Riley, what about you? How do you spend your time?
So I think Riley as well needs to get some medical attention for these burns.
Let's have you roll 2d6 again. I'll have you roll with advantage because I don't think anyone is going to be charging you for medical help or making that difficult to get. Oh my, that is a 4. Your burden rears its ugly head and a new danger crops up in this locale.
I think my downtime move means that, it's 5, but that's still.
Because what that downtime is, gain advantage for the. I've given you advantage.
It's just advantage.
Anyway. Yeah. Oh dear. Right. Okay. I think I may give that a bit of thought. You don't get to recover, or you wouldn't get to recover, but because of the medical equipment on board the ship and therefore on the shuttle, you can recover one. So
Okay.
that again will deal with the burns, but you won't get the benefit of anything else. Gosh. Right. Your burden rears its ugly head, and I think the reason that you don't do any better than that is that though you're not on the ship, I think you are probably fixated on it's a frustration really to be stuck on the planet when you can't get back to the ship and carry
I
on.
can't look at my
stuff.
particle.
You can't look at your particle. So, you're just preoccupied with theorizing about it.
Spending all my time on my data pad.
Just, well, what if I could, oh shit, I can't do that. So it's a frustrating time, I think, for Riley. I think I prefer to have your burden rear its ugly head. So it is valid for you, therefore, to mark that for next downtime as your burden gets in the way into the next key trigger. And finally, let's come to Harper. How is Harper going to spend his time in Equinox for shore leave?
I think this time Harper tries to meet with the locals on a slightly friendlier approach and actually learn how to horse ride.
Love it. Let's have you roll with advantage for your shore leave then. Oh, look at that. That's a 10. On 10, describe a restful, energizing, inspiring, or otherwise positive moment you experience here.
So I think for Harper, we see Harper reliving his Zandoran Western moments when he sits with the other cowboys in on a ranch somewhere. We are like shooting empty cans in the distance with our guns, and they're shooting bullets, and I'm just like shooting my freezer. And then we are having like a lasso tournament where when we're trying to catch horses. Then we ride together toward the ending, and Harper feels like he was on that this was he relived the fantasy of some of his Zandoran Western cowboy movies.
And it goes brilliantly because you're going to recover twice. Plus 1 for the med bay, so you are going to recover all that stress. So you are just sailing by the time you get back to Equinox after a week or two on this dude ranch, where some rail executive has taken you as a thank you for your efforts. Because the guard and all the people on the train say, no, it was that guy. He was the guy who saved us all. Oh, those other people, they just fell off the train, and then there was a dinosaur. So you have a great 2-week break at a Zandoran dude ranch, doing all the things you've described, and come back rested, tanned, feeling just great.
Exactly that. And I think I'm going to use my downtime bonus to change the style of my cryo pistol. I think with the help of the local cowboys, maybe they had it. Maybe we can give it to Harper ingenuity. He managed to transfer his very sci-fi looking freezer gun into. He basically put all of the freezing engine into the magazine of the revolver. So now he has a cowboy revolver with it's slightly bigger than a normal gun to hide all of the inside stuff, but his gun now has a style of cowboy revolver,
like a 6-gun. I love it. Exactly. I love it. I don't think we need to make a note of that because none of us are going to forget that. That is delightful. So 2 weeks of holiday or rest and recovery, and doing a bit of frustration on the part of Riley, and doing a bit of digging on the part of Gema. All of that brings our shore leave to an end. Let's cut to you all in a local saloon having the conversation about what happens next. What do we see? Riley?
All right, so I think Riley's sort of sitting in the back of the booth, like still like muttering into their data pad, like, oh, well, if gamma waves and maybe a 2.7 coefficient. Hey guys.
Gemma?
Yeah, I think so Gemma is going to share kind of some of the information that she found out that remember that weird thing you heard about with this not really being a planet or something, or it maybe being, I heard the locals, I talked up some of the local, I heard more about this, and apparently at some point in the past there was, I'm gonna go off rail here, so if you don't want to do this out, so, but that, they said it was in the South Pole, but apparently at some time in the past, some entrepreneurial folks tried to set up sort of like a mining sort of thing down there, and then everybody, it failed. Everybody disappeared. It became sort of, they thought it was cursed or something, right? And so, I think that might be a good place for us to start, looking, because that seems to be where everybody thought and once it got sort of the reputation as being, cursed or something, they everybody just kind of left that place alone and went back to, we're not explorers. Why are we trying to go explore? So
yeah, very much Bermuda Triangle stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And we know the technology level here is well below the cluster norms. So, we've pitched it as kind of early 20th century, I think, more or less. Harper?
Yeah, I think Harper he seems very relaxed, and yeah, he came here to meet with his crew, and yeah, I mean, he's open to all kind of adventure. So he just says, so is there any are there any credits to be made from like investigating this this curse? Because yeah, it sounded interesting, and Riley only talks about it, but are there any credits to be made?
Riley?
Well, that like the saying goes, that the best payoff is the payoff of a good discovery. Don't we want to know, like, what's inside this planet?
Well, I mean, can I just say, it sounds like when you put the word out and or look for a job, do you put the word out and see whether there's any local interest in this, or yeah?
Sure, of course.
So I think, Harper, given you raised the question, you should roll the dice. This is, so roll plus hospitality. Your hospitality is currently +1, because you've got some some materials on the shuttle and on the ship that encourage conversation with strangers. Oh, look at that. That is a 12.
Yeah.
So I should have asked you before you rolled, but now you get a free chance. So if we look at the scraping by bit of the ship, local job, cargo or passenger run, bounty hunting, or a risky scheme.
Wait, I'm lost. Where do you look for? Because
check out ship and wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go to where you are, which is at the moment scraping by, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a risky scheme here. You want to investigate the Bermuda Triangle, for God's sake.
Yes, I think a legal risky scheme, maybe by the people who like paid for this like mining town, which is now not making them any credits, are like looking forward to like maybe put the locals to rest that there's no curse, so they are willing to pay the cash.
I think a guy called Jem Butler comes to find you, and he's here representing Zandora, the Zandoran carpenters. We know about the Zandoran carpenters, and it turns out the Zandoran carpenters know about you because you looked after a daughter of that house in the recent past on her year off traveling the cluster. And I think Jem Butler is interested in supporting you in exploring, because it wasn't the carpenters who set that mining enterprise up 80 years ago, or 100 years ago. Let's put it well beyond a lifespan. But they are interested in what that part of the planet might offer. So yeah, they are prepared to back you on this risky exploration scheme. Yeah, which could earn you 5 mega credits if we're going to use some large number of credits for each of these boxes on the ship chart. So I'm just going to put a box around that just to know, or highlight it in some way. There we are. So you are on a risky sea. I mean, this could be fantastic. This could, really just drive you almost as far as well off if this were to go well. Yes. So entirely above board.
So like coming back to this like question that Harper asked that Riley answered, Harper says, well, actually, I actually found an individual who is willing to pay us very good for, as you say, knowledge of what happens there.
So
none others than a representative of the local carpenters.
So, what? So what do we see in terms of planning? How do you intend to do this? I guess is my next question.
I assume our ship is not atmosphere capable, so probably no ship involved in this.
It isn't atmosphere capable. You can't land the ship. The shuttle could make the trip.
I would suggest we go back and hover over there, use the scanners, and then maybe be descent with the shuttle. However, since you asked about the preparation, I have an idea, but.
Well, I mean, spill it.
Well, it's a personal preparation. So this planet is well below cluster norms, but I think they might have a future office. So what I would like to do is basically go in there, pay them a visit, and use my favor for them to open the local stores for me.
Oh, yes. Yes. I don't see why they shouldn't open the local stores for you. So if you want to cash in a favor with Future, because I think, so what I'm imagining then is a kind of montage where you are going to travel to the planetary capital of Zandora, which is a large city. I'm kind of imagining Chicago in the 1910s, 1890s, 1910s, maybe. So you're going to, because Future will have representatives here. There's no question about that. So you're off to Future. What about Riley? What kind of preparation might Riley be interested in?
So I think I'm probably going to try and assemble some set of exploration supplies,
I mean, based on the locals? Because
I imagine that I have some usual supplies that I use lying around the ship, for when I go to random planets and check them out.
Okay.
I might top up my stores of.
I think that you'll be able to top up your stores in the sense of local technology. So you're going to have. I'm not. We're not in
extra
the business
food.
Yeah, we're not in the business of tracking the details of that. You've got supplies. You paid to resupply the ship. So when you arrived, so you don't have a problem with that.
So yeah, I've got basic supplies, and then I don't know, probably just sketching out a bit of a plan.
I wondered, you see, whether you wanted, again, because I noticed you have a favor with the Central Organizing Committee. I mean, there will be some kind of consulate or embassy, I'd have thought, if you wanted to, because their tech level is higher than Zandora's. I'll leave you to think about that. I don't want to force your hand on it. It's just that Pavel set me thinking about, favors. What about Gema?
So if Harper is getting the stores open, does that give us an opportunity to add something to our assets, or?
I think it might.
Okay, I think they want, so a couple things. I think they want to get something that will help them, enhance their badassness a little bit. But then also I wanted to say, as we've been talking about this, I had this thought that we have another Western trope that we can jump on here is we're about to go to a ghost town. So just, I wanted to throw that out there. So
icy ghost town, 100-year-old icy ghost town. Oh my. Okay. So I mean, let's go back round then to Harper. Because I think the way we could play this is that if you are going to open the future stores, you can cash in a favor for a piece of equipment from your list. So is there something else on Harper's asset list that they want to buy? Because the fact is that there is nothing local that is going to come anywhere near any of your technology. So it is about trying to access off-planet technology, which I guess is where you're going, Harper. So what have you got in mind?
I had in mind, I wanted my rocket boots, and I'm just like, so I have like, I have like climbing gear. I thought about modifying it so that obviously it cannot like, I don't think it can haul. I think it was used to traverse and like hover tags. And since I imagine it was produced for the locals, so I'm willing to open the third tag to whatever you think is fit, what they would like try to sell it as.
Okay.
That's my idea. And of course, if Gema wants, I am willing to get. I think I also have on a list something called Steam Inhaler, if that's what you want me to buy.
I've literally had my hovering right over that exact that thing. That was one of the two things I was thinking about. So that's perfect.
I'm just trying to think. I've never tried this, but let me try that. There you go. So that's going to cost you both favors, though.
Can I supplement one favor to instead, since they like open the stores for one favor and I got the gear, can we like pay normally for the other one?
No, you could steal it though.
Yes, that's definitely my way. I mean, come on, they just have the stuff lying over there, so
why wouldn't you? I think this is prey.
I also have a credit that would I be able to use a credit to just get it?
Yeah, I think let's do it. You can do it. You can do it either way. You can hang on to the credit that Gema has tucked away, or you can try to steal the stim inhaler. Because it's an inhaler. You just slip that in a pocket, sitting on a shelf.
They're not going to steal it, but if
Harper is going to steal it.
I can't stop him. I don't even know that his sticky fingers and whatnot.
Yes,
I would.
I think we were both in there, and we were like walking through what they have available, and I noticed that you are like paying attention to it. So definitely, I would like to pocket it and then give it to Gema. Like, oh yeah, they decided to like reward you with this for your good fight on the train.
I think this is deceive the trusting, because you cash in a favor. They've opened the stores. They are trusting you, Harper. So roll with influence.
Miss.
Oh dear. The victim is aware of your intent and might even turn the tables on you. On your way out of the future building, Harper,
Yes.
an executive just drifts across the lobby and says, is that a stim inhaler in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? They've got you cold, and you notice that security is just keeping an eye on you here. Mr. Wilkerson, could we just have a conversation? Just come to my office.
Of course. I have no idea how it fell down to my pocket. Probably, I don't know. Yes, let's talk about it, because I don't know what happened here.
Now, you can either spend a second favor to get out of this, or they are going to require something of you. So what's your preference?
Favor is hard to come by. I'd rather them require something. So
okay, so in effect, they put another debt on you and instantly cancel it. Yeah,
yeah.
But the deal is, we won't talk about the stim inhaler. You know, this will go no further than you and me. Which of FUTURRE are you most suspicious of? Because we kind of conceived that each of those letters in future represents a different corporation.
Yeah, the one with you sounds like the most suspicious, because the name is like universe something. So yeah, they are the most suspicious of all.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm putting in the notes, universe expects to get the data you collect.
Sure.
And no one else gets it, exclamation mark. Okay?
Yeah,
that's the deal,
that's
Mr.
a tough
Wilkerson.
bargain. Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Don't disappoint us, Mr. Wilkerson. Please, don't disappoint us.
Of course. Universe, of course. I'm here to future. I'm here to serve the goal of the future. So yes.
Of course you are. Of course you are. So, so we can add that stim inhaler to Gema's equipment list. Fine. In terms of that climbing gear, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that being really high tech. However, I mean, rocket boots might be a bit far, but some kind of, repulsor technology or something like that. Yeah. Is
Basically,
that okay?
a Batman gun.
If you want it to be a grapple gun, I don't have a problem with that either.
Yeah, let's call it a grapple gun then.
Okay. Yeah, the difficulty you may have is how you edit it. I'm not sure how you'll be able to edit it. I tell you what, that list calls from row 130 downwards. So if you scroll all the way down, you probably can edit.
It produces the error, but you can edit it. So.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a lookup as well. It's a lookup of a lookup. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Riley, what about you?
So I was thinking about calling in a favor to get either a jump pack or a med kit, but I'm not sure if that would be redundant.
I mean, a field med kit used to perform first aid, minor medical tasks in the field, rather than having to return to wherever, to the shuttle at least, assuming you're going to be in this kind of South Polar region. So I'm not sure. It'll be redundant if no one gets hurt.
I do have the skill. I would like to test it out, how it works. My improvements. I can stress a medical assets. So maybe feel free to buy something else, and we will give a test to this skill. I have no idea what stress a medical asset means.
Okay, I think what it means. You can, so can you see that each of your assets has a little box next to it?
Yeah.
If you mark that, that uses it up in order to avoid a stress on you or to avoid some narrative disadvantage. So you would be in a position, for instance, with that move, suppose that Gema, because Gema tends to get into these difficulties, ends up with another wound. Yeah. You could mark the stress inhaler on Gema's sheet and use it up to cancel the wound.
I thought that this is not just normally what we can do with those kind of boxes without a special skill to be able to use it.
Well, I think not in the way that you specific. Well, I mean, I'm reading the move like you. So
This was my question as well. Like if we need Harper's special move to have a med kit have any effect, then
no, but I think I think what I do is make you roll. You know, to use the tool. So yeah, let's work that through. So I think the implication, as I think about it now, would be suppose that Gema gets into trouble and that rib breaks again, or the you know she gets into that kind of difficulty. You would roll to treat her, or them. Sorry. I think what that move means is just mark it, and it's done. I
see that it's a guaranteed success in exchange for.
I think that's what we're talking about here.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
An alternative of what I was thinking is that I can mark stress to produce like one-use medical asset. So we don't have a medical asset in our inventory. I can mark stress to produce something which basically has like one tag and is one use only. That was my input. That was my thinking. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's pretty explicit. You can stress a medical asset, and then it gives some examples. So I think if you could, you could narratively position it so that the wound. I'm sorry, we're picking on Gema here. The wound through which Gema is bleeding out. Then maybe the cable in your grapple gun is the medical asset you use to save her leg. If you mark the grapple gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that means that we can actually use a med kit, because then I can stress it to avoid the roll. Yes.
And the other thing I think is that were Riley to select the med kit from their list, then I think that I would let you roll with advantage to treat a wound because you had a med kit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that to a large extent, the gear lists are there to create potential fictional advantages for you, which then reflect it in the mechanical roll.
So yeah, I think given that on our last adventure, 2 of us got badly hurt, Riley is going to call in a favor to get us a med kit.
Okay.
So can I just ask? So on this, so that makes sense to me. But like, let's pretend that he doesn't have that move, right? So that inhaler, like, and if what it is it's more of a narrative device than anything, I was trying to understand what the mechanical benefit of having the stim inhaler is. Like, is it?
Okay. So dulls pain and fear, instills hyperfocus. Yeah. Suppose that we take the example of the broken rib and the dinosaur and the broken rib, as you know, the parable of the dinosaur. You were rolling with disadvantage because of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you have a stim inhaler, that would cancel the disadvantage because the rib would no longer be painful.
And that's kind of in my head what I thought it was, right? Because that'd be the hyper focus, right? It's something to juice you to get through
take it another step forward. You are drawing a bead on the dinosaur. You take the stim inhaler.
You get advantage.
The focus gives you advantage on the roll because now you are, your perception is sharpened.
And then what we're saying is the difference that comes in from Harper's move is no roll is required. You just stress the device. When you stress the asset, do you lose the ability to use it after that?
Yes.
This is like when I flew my camera drone through a window.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
okay. Until you do something.
Until you
to-
fix it or refill it, which is
Okay.
part of the downtime, recover,
Perfect.
either fix something or heal.
That's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I suspect that we will be using both the stim inhaler and the med kit. So that is my prediction. And the move.
The move, yes, as things get worse and worse and worse. Okay, so that's been a really helpful conversation, I think, because that's helped me fix some of the way the mechanics are intended to work, or at least we've agreed how we think they're meant to be working. Okay, brilliant. So after you're preparing, you don't have to worry about cold weather clothing and stuff like that. The ship can provide all that. And I think what Harper suggested was that you take the shuttle back up to the ship, and then you move the ship over the pole in order to do some initial investigating using the ship scanners, and then blah. Yeah.
I have one more or even two more questions.
Oh, go on.
So first off, do we have to pay for the medkit? With credits or stuff like that?
I paid for it by calling in my favor with the central organizing committee.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, yes. The other question is, I'm like wondering, so with my, coming back to my skill in the first aid, do we say it works like 1-to-1? So we mark an asset to remove one injury, or do we like mark an asset and remove like all physical injuries up to this point?
That's a good point. I think, go on.
From how it's written, it says you can stress a medical asset to remove a physical stress from an ally. So I would interpret that as uncheck one box.
Yeah, I think so. That's my reading.
It's a really bad exchange rate, but
soap opera is so hard.
I will roast it I will go and to the feedback note and roast it.
Put it in there. Cut to back on board the Ace, I think. Yeah. As you maneuver the ship in orbit to get above the South Pole. Yeah. I think that I will tell you that as you're doing this, you get a kind of navigation overlay that tells you where everything is. And there's not a lot in the Zandoran system because they're not interested in space themselves, really. There's just a continual track of cargo ships coming and going from the system because it is the breadbasket. But I think what's interesting, and I think Riley will probably spot this without me needing to ask you to roll, you will spot that none of the laid out navigational routes from any of the three gates in the Zandoran system require ships to cross the South Pole.
Interesting.
They are all the approach routes, either by accident or design, avoid the South Pole. And it becomes clear when you begin to maneuver towards the South Pole why, because you will get a broadcast. You will get a broadcast. You will get a broadcast that says you are approaching a hub slipstream authority zone of interdiction. Please alter course. What do you do? We know Harper's in the pilot seat, and I think probably Riley is in the co-pilot seat.
Harper's in the captain seat.
The captain seat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's stenciled onto the back of it, captain. And I'm guessing Gema is down on the weapons deck. So
I think, full disclosure, Riley probably is only half paying attention because in a side console, they're like monitoring all of the experiments they've set up to run on their particle. Now they're finally back on the ship.
Love it. But that broadcasts through the ship on the loudspeaker system.
So can I ask a clarifying question? So would we know, are these generally just like automated beacons that get like set up, or is there a that like, okay, that's great, but or is it one of those types of things where there would be something that would intercept us, or and maybe we would know, but I'm just kind of curious if we would know something about that.
I think, Gema, your training, I think, will tell you that the authority doesn't set up interdictions that aren't backed up.
Okay.
And you can certainly share that with the crew.
Okay.
Does that lead Harper to suggest a change of course?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, Harper definitely looks at Riley and he says, "So, do we fly there despite the restriction and try to get the sensor reading, or do we take the shuttle down to the ground and fly like below 10 meters over the ground to avoid the radars? I mean, that's what they do on the TV dramas, on the really old one."
Well, you know,
We can go in there so low.
it's a risky plan, but less risky than flying straight into an interdiction zone.
But then we will not have any readings from the ship sensors about it. So, I mean, you are the most keenly on it. I mean, I want the money. You want the science stuff. So I'm just, asking you what. I'm all in on going in there. We have Gema sitting in the turret.
I don't think we can take on the authorities, so I think we're going to have to.
You are about to enter a hub interdiction zone. Please alter course.
So the shuttle down to the ground?
The one thing we could try is we could attempt to, if we wanted to try to get in there just enough, to try to get our scans, if we could try to pretend like we're having some sort of malfunction, but just enough to get in there, get the scans. If the interdiction, comes, we can. So maybe we could go in, start broadcasting, maybe a little like some sort of like SOS or something, saying,
oh no, our steering's broken.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, something like that, right? And get in, try to get the scan, and then get in and get out before, because I don't think so. Gema is very interested in having the intel before we hit the ground. So I don't know if maybe we could leverage the Vanguard move on this whole thing here or something.
I think because you're on the ship, I want you to look, because this sounds a lot like, well, fly casual. And I'm looking at when you push the ship to maneuver better than it has any right to, or maybe in the way you want it to, roll plus controls. That might buy you some time. Harper, yeah. Would you like to maneuver in a way that suggests that you actually are having some control difficulties?
I mean, I'm not sure why are you suggesting this. I'm a perfectly well-trained captain and the pilot. I don't know. Yes, of course. I think I would I think I would assume the controls and try to fly. Trying to like. I wonder how would Harper simulate this.
Riley, what are you going to broadcast? Because then Harper will know how you expect him to fly.
Right. I think I'm going to claim we're having some problem with our left maneuvering thrusters. We're attempting to alter course, but it's not working.
Okay, Harper, let's have you roll plus control, which is currently +1.
Yes, of course. Let's do it. Wow.
Wow, 10. On 7+, you do it. Describe how impressive it is.
I think anyone watching us would think that there's a madman behind the steers because the ship begins to like rotate like up and down and then around like a bullet and then up and down. And as Riley is saying that we have a problem, it means like we have like, I don't know, a baby is driving it. And then Harper looks like, I think I'm doing it right.
And yet you are under perfect control. You can stop that anytime you want, Harper. So Riley, I guess it is now, when you observe, analyze, or decipher using the ship system, say what you're looking for and roll plus scanners. So are you looking for what's broadcasting at you? Or are you looking
I want to focus on the South Pole where we're thinking of going. Like, are there any unusual energy readings coming from it? Is there any unusual topography that we can see from here?
Okay, let's have you roll plus scanners, which are +2.
All right.
For our many listeners, that is a total of 4. 6+, you've become tangled in a bad situation and can't back out. They fire on you. You are receiving incoming fire from an energy cannon. So let us. What are you going to do, guys? I mean, currently the ship is at risk of damage. Roll plus shielding. I'm going to go to Gema for that one down on the weapons deck.
Yep.
Shielding
And
is,
I think that we never added, because I think as part of Gema's move, it was like divide 3 between gun and shielding.
I think it was.
And we have a +1 on gun, and I just think I forgot to go add the +2 to the shielding. So
There you go. I've just put the 2 back in, and I will increase the current to +2. So roll +2.
Okay.
I mean, it couldn't possibly come up as a double 1 again, could it?
Now, why would you say such a thing?
For our many listeners, that is a total of 5. So
We're going in the right direction.
On a 6-, reduce shielding by 1. So you can feel, portions of the shielding boiling away under the pressure of the incoming energy cannon attack. Then allocate damage to the targeted system as normal. Okay, they are fire. So an energy cannon, just like yours, does major damage. So I am going to mark minor and major. You'll see that I'm doing this to engineering. And I get to allocate 2 to one of those. And I think I am going to reduce your drive to -1 and your reactor to -1. It looks to be firing to incapacitate. So what are you going to do? I'll come back round to Harper. You were doing a perfect job, and now it looks like you're taking damage. Do you fire back? Or do you reactor when you try to outrun or overtake something with a hard burn? Roll plus reactor.
I wonder how would Harper react. He's a space cowboy gunslinger. I mean,
while he's thinking about this, Riley is screaming, "Get us out of here!"
Yes, I mean, I think I'm not sure if Harper would go on the mic with it, but yeah, it wouldn't count otherwise. I think Harper would like open comms and says, "You want war? You will get it. You have no idea. Yeah, how did you dare to fire at? Fire all cannons!" And then they like press the firing button.
Let me go to Gema. Gema, you're on the weapons deck with that button. What are you doing as you're recognizing incoming fire?
Can we see, do we have any sort of readings, whether visual or through other mechanism, like the nature of the what's firing on us? Because
Yeah.
for me, it depends a little bit on if it's something I think we might be able to take out,
Okay.
maybe.
I think that there's a kind of defense satellite sitting above the South Pole.
Okay.
And you I mean, frankly, you didn't look for it in the first instance. But now that you've got it's firing on you, I think that that Gema, the ship systems will be able to kind of triangle it back to give you a decent chance of.
So it's more of an automated, but I think we will try to take it out. So yeah, so I think they are gonna try to target it and take it out.
Okay, so you are using, because your guns are at +1, which means you have point defense turrets and energy cannons, far major damage to the target. And when you attack something, face adversity and roll plus hardware.
All right. So I believe I'm +1 on hardware. Let me flip back over there.
Meanwhile, Riley continues to scream into the microphone, "Get us out of here!"
All right, let's could they use the stim inhaler thing to focus up and try to really, because it's a very targeted thing.
I don't see why not. This is one of those believe in the force moments, Gemma. Flip up and go manual. Roll with advantage.
I've turned my targeting computer off. So
roll with advantage and you have +1.
10.
Oh wow, that is a 10. So what does this do? 10 plus. You inflict harm as established on the target. So you inflict major harm on this satellite. That is enough to destroy it.
Sweet.
What does that look like, Gemma? Come on, you did that thing.
Yeah, all I can think of in my head is that, they take that sort of deep breath, moment, and then, you see the two little, like a little, and it, boom, just. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Congratulations. You just destroyed your first Hub Slipstream Authority asset. And the broadcast stops as well. So what are you going to do now, Riley? Because, it suddenly goes quiet.
I'm debating whether to try again on the scans. Or...
Let's have you try again on the scanners and see, because I think the fiction
maybe
has
if we
changed.
stop tumbling around, maybe it'll work better.
Exactly. So Harper brings the ship back under control because he never lost control of the ship, let's face it. And instead it comes down to you, Riley, with scanners. Roll +2.
That is a 5.
I'm going to put that hard move up here on the shelf and suggest that we take a break until 20 past the hour. I'll see you then. Okay, so Pavel, you had a question from Harper, didn't you? So go and ask your question.
Yes. So the question is, before I discuss with the team the results of who gets the results of our mission, I need to know what was because I didn't ask then, what was the deal that the representative of the future demanded, that we hand over the results for free, so work pro bono, or are they willing to pay us the full amount, not full amount for the results, and they just want exclusivity? What was the details?
They want exclusivity, and they'd be very grateful to you, Mr. Wilkerson, and you would have another favor with Future.
But no credits.
Oh, no, because this was to stop you being arrested and bad things happening. And there are 5 mega credits on the table from the Zandoran carpenters, and we know they have the money to pay it. So a moral quandary that Harper will need to wrestle with, or come up with a cunning plan related to it. I don't know. So yes, I'll just reach and get that hard move and just bring it back down. All of you hear the hull creak, as though it has been put under some kind of strain. And Harper, you are not maneuvering because you just, entered geosynchronous orbit so that Riley could do the scan. Mm-hmm. And you are conscious, Harper, that though you are not maneuvering, the ship is moving. It is being drawn towards the planetary surface.
Yeah, I think at first Harper maybe didn't realize it, but after a moment he wait a moment, we are descending. And he probably grabs the controls and pull up and turn on the engines to escape the gravity pull.
Well, let me go to Riley and say, Riley, the scanners are revealing an energy emanation from the South Pole of the planet. It is approximately cone-shaped, emanating from a point and expanding to encompass you.
Interesting. I guess this must be why all the ships don't go here. Also, I recognize that hull creaking sound and I don't like it, and I am running to put on a helmet and suit.
Yeah, to hell with science. Put my spacesuit on. I mean,
I love science, but I have lived on spaceships since I was born, and there are some things that are just habits.
Okay. Gema, your reaction?
So, quick question. We've established that this ship cannot or does not go atmospheric, right?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, it is not designed for atmospheric flight. And normally, were its orbit to decay, normally, it would probably burn up on entry. But this is not the movement that Riley is, not the movement that Riley and Harper are detecting. It is. Should I use the word tractor beam? Because I think certainly at this point, if we then get an external view on screen, we will see this translucent beam coming up from the planet and encompassing the Ace of Spades.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, okay. So, are we in a position to deduce that we won't burn up, or do we need to try to? I mean, that I think personally, I think that's their number one concern is if we're being pulled down into the atmosphere, the ship is going to burn up. And
yeah.
So
I think it's an interesting question. Are you being pulled down into the atmosphere so you will burn up? Or is there something else going on? So Gema, what suggestion have you got about how you approach that problem?
Well, Gema has a sledgehammer idea and I don't know. So I'm going to say the sledgehammer idea, and then you guys can talk me out of it, because I have another one, and it is: would they survive if they fired the breaching pod down at whatever this is that is pulling them in?
Okay. I mean, I think you would have more chance of surviving if you wanted, if you're talking about abandoning ship, then probably the shuttle is your best bet because that is your lifeboat.
Well, I think so. So I'll go my screwdriver route instead, and then holler at Riley to around, we're going to burn up if we get pulled down in the atmosphere, aren't we? I mean, Gema's not a scientist, right?
Okay, so
Yes,
Riley,
the atmospheric friction of re-entry. You hear Riley's suit like tinny through like a suit radio. The atmospheric friction will. Yes, the hull's not rated for re-entry. Also, Zandora shouldn't have tractor beams. This is not Zandoran technology.
are you angling to analyze a subject or anomaly?
I think I am, yes.
Let's have you roll to examine with mind, I think.
All right. All right, so that is a 7 + 2 is 9.
On a 7+, choose a line of questioning. The GM will elaborate. Oh, you are muted.
Oh, sorry. I think I want to know about the cause or origin. Like, how is this even happening? This is not supposed to be a thing.
I think that the scanners quickly identify a high energy source, which you are absolutely right, bears no relationship to anything that should exist on the Zandoran surface, conceivably outside of the sub-basement of the future building. There is something down there generating this field. And I think I would go so far as to say, and introduce a threat the subject presents, it might still be leveraged to your advantage. This beam has an energy signature akin to your slip particle.
Fascinating.
And therefore, in terms of what is about to happen, all bets are off.
Right? Like we could get sucked into unregulated slipstream. That is terrifying and also scientifically fascinating.
Harper, what are you thinking at this point?
I'm thinking how to show Harper as actually kind of intelligent individual with my email, because I do have mind +2.
You do.
I'm not Riley, but Harper looks at the available. I mean, we don't have much available data.
Roll plus mind to seek an opportunity by analyzing and deciphering.
Yes, that's what I wanted to learn more about it.
Let's do that thing.
He may be a cowboy, but he is also an intelligent cowboy. That's a 10.
That's a 10. You find what you were looking for and an obstacle that stands in the way. So what did you want to know? And I will answer your question, and then you can tell me what the issues are going to be.
I wanted to know, is it safe for us to be allowed to be captured in this field? Because in Harper's mind, maybe this is like the tractor beam to allow the ships to properly navigate something. This is actually helpful for us, not harmful. So that's his line of so that's what he's like trying to look at the scanners as well.
Okay, I think that what Harper identifies is that this field is not only moving you, but it has an odd set of properties, but it's also cocooning you. So I think I can tell you that you could safely enter the atmosphere as long as you were inside this field. Okay, seem fair, Harper? Okay,
that's awesome.
And then and an obstacle that stands in your way, which of those 4 bullet points attract you most as a potential obstacle in this?
We had the antagonist to defeat, looking for something else. I think this asks us for like questionable, unsavory act. No, I'm battling this or the first one. The player is asking to go somewhere new. Because I'm not sure what will happen. I don't know.
Because remember that
One
on
of the first two and do something with it.
on a 10 plus, the what it says is blah 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 blah. The severity of the chosen obstacle should be fairly minor on a 10 plus. Yeah. So you've got nothing awful is going to happen on a 10 plus. You're just going to give me some hints as to, as you say, go somewhere new or ask for a difficult choice or some kind of choice.
Yes, I think a choice is a good place here.
Okay, I will give you this choice then. The intensity of the field is building, and Riley, it resembles the way that the intensity of a slipgate field increases as a ship approaches it. You may be entering a slip horizon. The choices, you could let that happen, or you could try to break free using, I'm thinking of the ship move, probably reactor, when you try to outrun or overtake something with a hard burn to break free of it. I think that's the choice that you're faced with. It was Harper's choice, so I'm going to ask Harper to have, put his Pennethworth in first.
Yeah, so I think maybe surprising to Riley, Harper's like really cool-headed about it and starts to like speak her language using some kind of like a techno bubble to describe what is happening, his cool analyze role, and then he basically asks her, so do we go in? Are you really willing to risk everything to go in?
So I'm imagining in this conversation that like at some point we like say the same thing at the same time. Like, is this like a slip horizon? This is everything I've been looking for years. An unmanaged slip entry point. This is the find of a lifetime. This is.
Emma, you're listening into this conversation down on the weapons deck. What, if anything, are you adding to this conversation?
So I made an assumption, I think correctly, that our weapons at +1 can't reach that far. Would that be fair to say? We can't bombard orbitally with energy cannon. So
I think you're right. I think that you would probably need to launch a missile at it. Extreme.
Because that I definitely think would have been in their wheelhouse. So I think I'm listening. They're listening, and Riley and Gema shared, adversity together, and Gema has a lot more respect. It's not that she didn't have respect before, but when you go through that kind of stuff with them, and I think they're listening to all of this, and then I think she just says, Riley, I trust you.
Oh, there's a moment. Okay, Riley, all eyes look at you.
All right, this is now a science expedition into the unknown. Everyone suit up. We're going to do this as safe as we can.
Everybody does suit up. Helmets are on. And you have continued to make very slow progress towards the surface. And then we will cut to a view outside the ace, and suddenly it's gone. Inside, everything, all your scanners go kind of for a moment, and then begin to kind of flicker on again. All your systems, all your sensors begin to flick on again. Gema, what was different about that compared to your experience of traveling through a slipgate? What was more uncomfortable about that?
Oh, more. I was actually going to go the other way.
Oh no, but then do. No, that's interesting too. Go.
Yeah. So I was thinking, when you said, all the scanners flipped off, I think of that moment like you've seen in some sci-fi where everything goes dark and then things beep. Like all of us kind of had that little missing time moment, right? Like when that happened, like we're all kind of we're all waking up, the ship and us. But the difference is there was none of that sense that we've had in other instances where there's I don't remember what we called it, but like almost like that presence or that wasn't there, or it wasn't there in the more frightening way. It was just that wasn't there in the same way. So whether that's because it's better slipstream or who knows, we'll let Riley figure that out. So
Harper, what is your first inclination? What is your first evidence that you are not alone?
I think some kind of not alone.
I've deliberately phrased that as in as open a way as I can.
Yeah. I think what we see, so I imagine that our cockpit is like partially open to the, we have like a space window to see the space.
I think probably you have screens showing you a variety of views rather than a proper kind of bubble, but go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that they show us as if someone was like using a very strong flashlight at us, that the light is like moving around our ship. So yeah, whether it's screen or a space window, we see like there's like a very strong beam of, and it's not like white light, it might be like green because that's like super weird space colored, like nothing is green.
Riley, yeah, I think that you will see this this bright light moving. You see it kind of move across one of the screens, and then shortly afterwards across another screen. So you can tell that this is moving along the length of the ace, because we know the ace is about 15 stories high in that sense. So you can this green light is moving along the length of the ship. Riley, what do you do? Because again, everyone seems to be looking to you.
I'm going to try and get some readings. Like, does it seem like it does when we're in slip space normally, or can I get a navigational position?
I will tell you for nothing that there are no stars.
Mm.
One set of your outside screens, your cameras, monitors, are kind of being sequentially kind of blinded by this green light source. But on the shady side, if you will, those screens are not showing you stars at all.
I see.
Do you want to roll to examine?
I do.
I mean, I could go any way here. Analyze a subject or an anomaly, or judge tech and structures. Even oh, maybe it is anomaly actually. When I think of it, I think it's analyze an anomaly, because this is certainly anomalous. Roll
it's very anomalous. All right, so that is 5 + 2 is 7.
Wow, you are really tearing up those dice today. On 7+, choose a line of questioning. The GM will elaborate.
Okay, so I want to understand this weird anomalous place where we are.
Okay. Purpose or value or expected behavior? That sounds like to me, or actually even cause or origin, or even flaw or weakness.
So I think, yeah, I'm gonna go with expected behavior. Like,
Okay.
what is the expected outcome of being in whatever the space is?
Okay. It is odd because you are picking up gravity. There is a gravity source, and you seem to be moving towards it. So there is, I think you are inferring that you are in a sphere of some kind.
Ah,
But you are, inverted commas, falling towards its center.
all right. I relay this to the crew. Like, you guys, I think we might be inside the planet.
The crew are stunned to silence.
I think
Yeah.
at some point along here, Gema just powered the weapons system off. Like there's an acknowledgement that we're we're out of our depth when it comes to, and joined them. They're up with like near around the cockpit too, so they're all together.
Harper?
I'm wondering, I'm really afraid of using the scanners, but there are no like flashlights outside of our ship. So I assume I can only use like scanners to actually like see what's
really going on?
yeah, probably like what's really going on. Use the scanner, maybe find like a landing spot. If someone was expecting for a ship to come by, there must be like a landing spot somewhere. So my goal is to find the landing spot.
Okay, let's have you roll with scanners. Roll +2.
I mean, this roll is really cursed today. Let's see how it is for me. Yeah, the 1 and 2. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's a 6 + 2. That's an 8.
Okay, on 7+, you find what you were looking for. You will spot, Harper, a number of possible places to put the ace down. It looks like it's drifting very slowly towards this kind of center of the sphere, but there are arranged around this central spot a variety of plates, I would describe them as. Some of them very large, some of them very small. So you will, if you want to maneuver the ace to one of those, you can pick one that is below you and not very far away and try to drift down onto that. So you find what you're looking for, if that's what your question meant. Yeah?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. On 7 to 9, the GM also chooses one from the list or increases the severity. Okay. You tell me which of those 4 things you are most interested in this being related to. A harmful, unpleasant location, a questionable, unsavory act, an interposing guardian or defense, your burden or someone else's. And again, these relate back to the seek opportunity definitions.
Yes, I'm looking at them. I want that my suggestion is, Joe, how do you feel about there being some kind of a ship by your former faction over here?
You know what? We're literally sharing a mind today, because that was when you said a burden. That was what I like. Maybe on one of the other platforms there is, or else it's maybe floating somewhere in there or whatever. Yeah,
I can work with that. Yeah, you get a kind of just that kind of ping of a beacon from another ship, perhaps as you're maneuvering towards that platform that you identified, Harper, maybe it was between you and that other ship. But I think I'm very happy for the Obsidian Order, for there to be a call sign from the Obsidian Order. Do you want that to be on the same platform or a different platform?
I think another platform close by makes sense. That opens us with a lot of options. Especially that I envision this place is like huge to our ship, so probably like it's like enormous to us, so the platform need to be close so that we can interact with them and they with us.
Fine. So let me ask you one more question then, Harper. The platform you choose to set down on, is it tens of kilometers across or hundreds of kilometers across? Because you're right, the scale is enormous. It is a planetary scale we're dealing with.
Yeah, like a hollow center of the planet. I don't think it's hundreds of kilometers long. I think it's like, in my mind, it's huge, but it's like maybe like a 1 kilometer, and then maybe that'd be like some like catwalk to another structure somewhere or something.
Well, let's start with a kilometer or so. So you want to be able to walk to its edge.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't. Yes, because we don't. Yes. Walking.
Well, I mean, you've got the shuttle.
We have the shuttle, yeah.
So yeah, okay. So you get that ping. So on a 7-line, the GM also chooses one from the list or increases the severity. I think that I am going to invoke interposing guardians or defense. I think as well as that ping of a call sign, you then get communication, and the communication says, identify yourself. This is the Obsidian Order cruiser Magnificent. Identify yourself and provide clear acknowledgement of which faction you represent.
Can I make a suggestion? So my suggestion would be is when Gema hears that, the cruiser Magnificent is a ship that it disappeared without a trace at some point in the past. It's a well-known that so this is like not like, so it's a, you know, years and years, right? So not like last week sort of thing, but
it's a legend.
Yeah, yes. And the faction that when they're referring to is that there was a time when there was when the order was larger and there was civil war kind of almost amongst them, and that would be what they are referring to.
I will remind us of betrayed long ago by their own people as part of a peace negotiation.
Yep.
We have related to the Homewood question for Narcissus. A relic of an ancient civil or a distant civil war of some description. My goodness me, this gets more and more interesting. What fiction you guys are creating, you're on fire. So you put down on the platform, I can't think of any other way to describe it. You will notice as you're coming in that if you look at some of the larger of these sections, they are curved. So when you land on this kilometer, when it'll look flat, but were it bigger, it would form a curve, as if it was the inside. I think the other thing I can tell you about it is that the gravity here is less than it is on Zandora's surface. And I'll go even further. And as you have come down to this, gravity has decreased, which, Riley, is very odd indeed. Because if your hypothesis is that you are inside Zandora, then, and that the source of the gravity is at the center of this hollow sphere, gravity gravity at the surface of Zandora should be normal Zandoran, and then the closer you are to whatever mass there is down there, it should get more.
Unless there is no mass at the center and we're just attracted by the other part of Zandor at the other side, causing us to have. I've like brought up a console and I'm sketching out a like physics diagram.
So here you are inside. The scale. You're inside a planet, or a planet-sized sphere.
I think Harper realizing that this this ship, he probably also heard that it's disappeared. Probably because it's like known or it's like unknown.
It's known now because Gema has shared it with you.
Yeah. So I suppose on the comms I answered to Gema. Do you wanna answer their hail or shall I? You know, some ancient codes of ethics that they will not fire on us or something.
And then the hail repeats itself. This is the Obsidian Order Cruiser Magnificent. Offer confirmation of which faction you belong to.
So I'm desperately trying to look up a pithy name for what I want to respond with, but maybe we can retcon that. But Gema will respond, and if you guys could just bear with me and I will come up with a cooler thing, but they will respond with a name that is not Gema. And the name of the order or the faction she gives is it's going to be something with the Reavers.
Okay. Is there, which bit of this, if any, is the truth?
It's all the truth.
Okay. You are.
So I think, yeah. So Gema is not her. Being on the run and out there. That's the name that he just chose. That's not her. That's not her real name.
Have the other two of us ever heard your Obsidian Order name before?
No.
Oh wow.
And when we do take the next, between now and the end of the next break, that I will have that dealt with. I know almost exactly what it is, but I want, just give me just I'm not as quick on my feet as I was hoping I would be. So
I mean, no, we will cut you as much slack as you want for that one, because this is going in all kinds of interesting directions. Is the stuff about the faction the truth?
Yes.
Is this an historical faction you've read about, or a faction within the order that still exists and you belong to?
That the second one. Yep.
Okay, so when you speak truth and lies, roll with influence.
I have none of that, so cross your fingers, everyone. I'm a -1 on influence, so.
So here we have today, anybody with 2 in anything automatically rolls a couple of 1s. And anyone with -1 in it automatically rolls a couple of 5s or better. So on a 7 to 9, you get what? So you get one of the things you wanted to achieve. So you tell me what you wanted to achieve.
What I wanted to achieve is Gema knows that her faction and the crew of the I'm sorry, Magnificent.
Who's Magnificent? Yes.
Were maybe they weren't allies, but they were definitely not enemies. That would be the only thing that I'd be going for.
Okay.
I'll leave, if you want to take that somewhere, but just not enemies. That was the only thing.
Fine. So you want to avoid them attacking you, is what you're. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Well, you've got that on 7 to 9, but the GM fully enact existing dangers or introduces new ones. That's when the second hail comes in. This is the cruiser Bludgeon of the Obsidian Order. Please provide details of your faction. And it's coming from a platform almost on the opposite side of this sphere. That's why it's taken longer to get here. And I will tell you, Gema, that that doesn't belong, that is not neutral to the Reavers. Again, ships went missing during that civil war. People wrote them off down to deep space conflict and no one survived. Both Bludgeon and Magnificent are on that list of lost ships.
So as soon as they hear the name of that ship, Gema just kind of reaches into the cockpit and shuts their like transponder off.
I think that this will be a good time to take our last short break. So shall we be back in our seats at 5 past the hour? I'll see you then. Okay, so we left that, and just so I summarize the situation we have now. So we now know that Gema, whose name isn't really Gema, is a member of the faction of the Obsidian Order called the Reavers. We know that the cruiser Magnificent belongs to a faction I have called the Citadel, and relationships between the Citadel and the Reavers back in the day were neutral. And the cruiser Bludgeon, Gema, you will recognize as being part of a faction called the Collective, which was hostile to the Reavers back in the day. Now, let's just check in with Gema here. Gema, are these factions still meaningful today, or are they just, historical? After the Civil War, there weren't enough of you left to sustain all these different competing factions, or what?
Yeah, so one of two things, and I'm open to groupthink on this, but one, either yes, what her order is now is all that's left, right? And they had to finally, that was all that was left. Or as far as they know, they are the only ones left. So at least from Gema's perspective, there wouldn't be anyone, any others other than her order left. Now, whether that's actually true or not, we can play with that. So,
okay. So from Gema's point of view, the Obsidian Order is the Reavers.
Yes.
Yeah. The order is the Reavers came out of that as the dominant faction. As far as she knows, it is the only faction that has any meaning today.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the cruiser Bludgeon of the Collective and the cruiser Magnificent of the Citadel. The Magnificent is closer than the Bludgeon. So I'm imagining the three of you sitting, on the bunks in the crew area, just kind of assessing the situation. Still in suits, I'm guessing, but maybe with the helmets off. What's that conversation like? Riley, let me come to you first.
Of all the things I thought we might find on this expedition, the lost ships of the Obsidian Order was not on my list. I don't know, Gema. What do you make of this?
So Gema, what she identified herself as when they hailed, they used a title of Justicar, and the name is Azrael. And the order is actually the Holy Reavers. So Gema was part of an actually pretty what's the right word I'm looking for? Zealot type of, they were both prior to them being the only ones, they were like the tip of the spear, right? So Gema, that was a and it was obviously, before, Gema's not 100 years old, but knows that was a terrible time in their history, and that the Obsidian Order used to be the sort of the honored legions of an empire, so, at some point. And in the making of peace, with after a centuries long war, they to seal the peace, the empire basically betrayed the order as part of that deal, because they were so deadly, so whatever, they kind of betrayed them, which then led to all of this different Civil War stuff. But yeah, both of these ships are of legends. They were lost, assumed destroyed, or at some point during that Civil War. And then they will obviously share that we don't want anything to do with the bludgeon. That's very bad news for us.
Thank you, Pavel, for making notes of some of that stuff in the Faces and Places. I suppose that what I'm curious about here is Harper, where is your head on this?
So Gema is speaking about this like marvelous history, and and Harper says, well, I hate to be Captain Obvious here, but they didn't get out for many cycles. For close to 100 cycles, they didn't get out.
That's a good point. Maybe time moves differently here, or they shot forward in time, or perhaps the people hailing us are the descendants of the original people on the ship. This is fascinating.
We are stuck here with them.
Oh, yeah.
That is an interesting point that Harper has raised, it must be said. What I can tell you is that those hails continue to repeat, and then seem to stop.
Shall we take the shuttle to visit the Magnificent, or shall we start looking for whatever control room there might be? I don't think that dividing is a good way, just in case we run into, how did you call them? Bludgeons? Yeah. Gema, a weird question, because I'm not familiar with the construction of and the history of your order. Were the ships equipped with like a hibernation chamber? Do you think we can still expect some of them to be up and running, or in the process of, or will the ship wake up some of the troops to go investigate?
Yeah, and I think we did establish early on that they did have that technology, if I remember correctly, from the very first. So yes, these are large vessels. These are like warship type.
A cruiser is bigger by some scale than the Ace. Yeah.
So they would have those sort of that sort of technology. They would have had that sort of to freeze themselves, or whatever we want to call that, suspended animation or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that's an automated beacon, based on proximity, right? That it triggers when there's proximity, and yeah, to Riley's point, we don't know does time stop here, and that they're still there, or did they all put themselves in, or are they all gone, right? But I don't know. I mean, that's, I don't know if Gema is super interested in. Gema doesn't necessarily have the same level of fascination with this as maybe Riley does about, and maybe as we should. I'm kind of interested. They're kind of interested in how do we get out of here.
I just want to also remind you that there was that bright green light. The whole discovery of two old, if not ancient, Narsen ships has kind of focused attention away from that bright light. But there was that bright light.
Is it still happening?
It is.
Do we think that's like a scan of some sort, or?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Are we going to go to
I could examine it.
to Riley's examine, I guess? Yeah. So I think this is a tech or a structure, actually. So this is roll plus hardware to work out what this is.
That makes sense. Hardware is +1.
As you interpret the data you've got.
All right, so 8 + 1 is 9.
On a 7+, choose a line of questioning. Do you want to know a flaw or weakness in this? Its cause or origin, its purpose or value, or its expected behavior?
I want to know its purpose or value. Like, what is it doing?
It is scanning you, but it is doing so using really, really ancient kind of, it's bouncing a green laser off you to try and work out what shape you are, which is kind of old school. And it seems to be moving around trying to map you. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
At some time, introduce a threat the subject presents. It might still be leveraged to your advantage. I think the threat is implied here that if it is mapping, you have to ask why. And if it did map, if it completes that map, it would know your weak points. So there's an implied risk around this thing.
That's a good point. It also makes me wonder if there's yet another faction here, because this is a very different level of tech from building a hollow planet and a slip transport thing to get into it.
So just to add to your complication, there is something moving about outside your ship, mapping it, or mapping its external contours, I guess. So there was a suggestion you get in the shuttle, you go and investigate some stuff, but
maybe I will go and make friends with this Joan and see if and see what I can learn about it.
How is this? Do we see you suited up into the airlock?
Yes, I mean, of course, I will go outside and first measure, is there an atmosphere, take a look, like, are there any light source? And then I, of course, plan to use my cool grapple gun to grapple to it and hack it. But first, yeah, I want to go through the airlock, take a look if there's an atmosphere, if we can breathe, and yeah.
I'm curious whether you would prefer it to be breathable, or whether you would prefer it to be the vacuum of space. What would be cooler at this point?
I would vote for breathable because it makes no sense whatsoever. Have we established at all what's out on the platform other than just it's about a kilometer or so?
There is no light source. We know that.
Okay.
There are no stars. That's why this green kind of thing is but it Harper's doing the look. So I'm gonna put that question back to you, Pavel.
I would like to say that it's like barely breathable.
Okay.
Because it is what we expect enclosed space. So I think it makes sense. There is some atmosphere. However, probably if we have to breathe it, we can for a short while, but then we'll probably, I don't know this word, deoxygenate, I don't know, to less oxygen.
It's a thin atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah, leave it at that. So you could, this must be like being at the, above the top of Everest.
Probably.
So you could survive for a period of time, but you would gradually be incapacitated by it. Does that?
Exactly.
Fine. Okay. So does that mean that you're going to wear your suit or not?
I think my suit doesn't matter because I have to like have the, yes, I'm wearing the spacesuit if we have.
Fine. Fine.
So yeah, no stealth suit, just the spacesuit. And yes, use my cool grapple gun to grapple to the drone, unscrew some panels.
Well, let's take that in a series of steps, shall we? So yeah, I'm seeing you outside on the top surface of the and the really strange thing now, of course, is that the ace has landed. If we think of it as a pile of decks, it's landed on its side. So that's the wrong way around, because normally you would be expecting your thrust gives you a sense of gravity up and down, front and end. So you're doing all of this from a position where none of your equipment is on the right wall. The equipment is on the floor or on the ceiling. So it's a bit odd inside the ship at the moment. And when you were sat on those bunks, you were having to flip mattresses over to be able to get comfortable in this peculiar orientation. But gravity is less than Zandoran norm. So it's thin atmosphere, low gravity. Yeah. So I'm thinking something lunar-like in terms of gravity. So Harper, out you go on the top surface of the ace. And because you're in one place now and you're not just getting the view from the occasional external cameras and sensors, I think you can see that this is a small, maybe a cubic meter. And it is maneuvering using the thin atmosphere and some fans to stay up, and then, spurts of gas, occasional spurts of gas to try and orientate itself. It looks like a large, clumsy drone. What do you do, Harper?
I mean, Harper would like to jump on it, but he's afraid of damaging it. And he like, Riley, you really have to get one of your drones here. This is like so old tech. Nobody would believe it. It's using fans to move around. Fans. Like, we have to make photo of it. Nobody would believe us. I mean.
All right. Yeah, I'm sending a camera drone out now.
Brilliant. So, the airlock recycles, and this time up pops a drone. So now the two of you inside have a similar view to Harper. So Harper, what are you going to do? You've got Riley riding, drone shotgun on you.
Yeah, and now I'm the action star. So yeah, I use my grapple gun. I try to fire it so that I don't want to damage it. So I'm trying to aim for the spot where there's no fan, and that I can think that I think there might be some consoles over there, some port to hack it. So I'm trying to attach it maybe I actually shoot my grapple around it so that the rope comes down, and then I can climb it. Yeah.
Okay, I think this is face adversity. It sounds, I don't know, you tell me, is this using the machinery, i.e. using the grapple gun, so it will be hardware, or is this around agility in terms of looping this around in a way that would allow you to anchor it in some way and then move on? What's the approach?
Oh my God, this is so power gamey question because it's like, do you want to roll +2 or -1? I don't think this is machinery because this is just a grapple gun. I'm not using like something like huge. If I was using like a, I don't know, a huge thrower or something.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go with precision.
Yeah. Let's go. Yes, Snake Eyes.
Okay. Things go sideways painfully. The GM describes how the situation plays out. You do capture it.
Yes.
What you were unclear about was the amount of lift and force those fans could generate. You are dragged off the top of the ace into space.
Hanging on the rope.
Hanging
Yes?
onto the end of this grapple gun. And of course, Riley and Gema, you see that in glowing Technicolor from the camera drone, as this thing now clearly has been disturbed and just takes off. With Harper kind of, in the low gravity, being heaved after it.
Is it going like? I mean, up is a
Oh no, it is absolute. No, it's not relative at all. Up is definitely up towards the surface of the sphere.
Is it going up or is it going?
It's
like
going
further
along.
Away from, okay.
It's going. It's now would be the question perhaps for you to ask. Well, what are we actually sitting on? And it appears to be a solid material. It's probably gray and featureless, this platform on which you're sitting, Gema. And Harper is being dragged across above the surface of it. If it wasn't for the low gravity, he'd probably be dragged along it. Mm-hmm. Now, Harper, you can always abandon the grapple gun and let go. Or you could, I don't know, hang in there and expect the others to come get you. I don't know. You're not going at dozens of miles an hour. You're probably going at a run. And the edge of this is about half a kilometer away.
Yeah, Harper still feels good. It's not going according to plan, but he can manage. So,
are you asking anything of the crew, or are you waiting for them to come up with something?
I'm not yet in the panic state, so now I'm trying to pull myself up and get there to actually do the hack. And it's actually also interesting to him that this thing will probably take me to the home base, so that's also valuable, dangerous but valuable. So yeah, let's pull myself up on
You're going to pull yourself up, okay? Because of the low gravity, and the fact you're not moving at kind of hypersonic speeds or anything like that. I'm very happy for you to haul yourself up, which means that you're not going to fall off it unless you choose to jump.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I'm imagining you now kind of sitting on this thing because it's about a cubic meter. Mm-hmm. So you're sat on this. What do you do? No, before I ask you that, while you're doing that, let me ask Gema and Riley what they're doing. Gema.
So we still don't have much of a sense of what's going on out in the sense that it's dark still, right?
It's entirely dark out there, apart from the light, that green light that was used to scan you. And I'm guessing, Riley, that your AV drones have sufficient low light or infrared or spectrum to be able to be seeing this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So they don't have giant spotlights on them.
No.
So I'm thinking that generally speaking, these ships have landing lights and all these on them, right? You'll see where, and so I think we want to, and obviously we're sitting sideways, so it might be a little distorted, but I think I'm going to fire up all the, these external, landing light type things to try to illuminate the situation a little bit, get a better sense of what we're dealing with.
Fine. Well, I think that's where I can now tell you that you are indeed sat on a plate of grey material. It's either some kind of pulverized and reconstructed stone concrete, or it's some kind of metal. But I think that's all you'll get from a first look. I am curious, Riley, either what you're doing or what your reaction to Harper being dragged across this plate is going to be.
Is this drone headed towards one of the Obsidian Order ships or to somewhere else?
I think it is heading towards the edge of the plate that you are on. And I think that is away from the Magnificent.
Okay.
It might be towards the Bludgeon, but the Bludgeon is a planet away, in the...
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Does that help? Gemma, I've given you a description of what's outside. Riley, I've given you a kind of the best kind of estimate I can of which way this is going on. Gemma, does that change what you want to do?
I think Riley, I think we better go get Harper.
Yeah, let's take the shuttle.
Yeah, or maybe whether it's shuttle or maybe we should just suit up and it's not going that fast. Maybe we just
catch him before he goes over the edge of the platform.
Yeah, or we don't need, and I'm guessing we can't necessarily see if we're assuming it's the edge of the platform that a kilometer away, right? There could be more over there. I'm recommending that we suit up and we follow.
I will tell you that now, this thing has been running, jogging for a couple of minutes, several minutes by the time you've done all of that kind of thinking and looking.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the shuttle is.
I think Harper is more than a couple of 100 yards away by now.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense. You're right to take the shuttle.
Okay.
That way, if they're going somewhere off our platform, then we can follow.
True.
So we see you're in your suits, you're heading down to the shuttle, the airlock into the shuttle, see all of that, while you get that going and release the various locks that keep it cut back to Harper. So Harper, you're sat on the top of this, and I think that it's very difficult to see the edge of this because from where you're sitting, it's all pretty dark. So what are you going to do, Harper?
I would assume that the spacesuit has some kind of like a flashlight.
It probably does, yeah. I like those big alien lights that kind of light up on the side of, and a low light inside, so you look sinister at the same time.
Yeah, probably not good enough to see anywhere outside, but like the thing I'm sitting on. So I still want to proceed with like unscrewing something and then getting access to some kind of like a port, so that I can hack it, because I would love to gain information of what it actually scanned now or in the past and get all of those data. So
fair enough. So I'm guessing you're using infiltrate when you hack into a system. Roll plus might.
That's my idea. Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
7 + 2, that's a 9.
9. On 10 plus, choose which opportunity to seize. On 7 to 9, you're in and undetected. The GM decides which opportunity you could seize if you want. Other actions have to be attempted separate. Okay. I think I don't see why I shouldn't allow you to gain access to the information it holds. I think that's an interesting place for this to go. What does that look like? Do we see you pulling a lead, out of some wrist bit on the spacesuit and plugging it in? You said you take a panel off so you can get to the insides, or is this about physically removing some data storage? Is this more computer hacker or engineer?
I think what I have in mind, since we described it a little bit as an alt tech, I would like that there is under the panel, there is a display, but it's not like LCD or some VR display. It's this like TVs from the 90s. I don't remember how they were called.
CRT.
Yeah. CRT. Yes.
CRT. So I think there's like a CRT display under it, and it's like, wow, Harper reaction. And then I like am able to like browse what's like stored in there. So I'm like really curious to like get the information, being able to like display it on the screen, and then maybe like actually if I find it interesting, maybe like press like eject like hard drive or something like this.
I can tell you for nothing that there is a lot of data in there. You know, it's not a touch screen, so it's not easy to just skim through this.
Mhm.
But I think that what you will see on the screen is a kind of 3/4 complete
Mhm.
blocky map of the ace. I think it had successfully scanned the kind of top and side surfaces.
Mhm.
It was struggling to work out what was going on underneath in the bit that's on the plate. And so I think it's clear it has been transmitting that data. But I think the other thing I can tell you is that its data, its storage has been reused multiple times.
Okay. So currently there are no more like imprints of the other ships or of any other structures on the data.
I think I can tell you that for nothing. If you now want to roll to, you know, do that, seek an opportunity, that's where you could ask me questions about stuff. So seek an opportunity, roll plus analyze and decipher.
Analyze and decipher. I think I have to go against myself and go with like hardware. I think this is like so altered that this is like more like tinker.
Rummage and tinker. Yeah, I like that. Roll plus hardware.
It might go horribly poorly, but I think that's the proper thing to roll. It's an 8 - 1. It's a 7.
Okay, so on 10 plus, you find what you were looking for. Choose one. 7 to 9, find what you seek, but the GM will choose one from the list or increase the severity. Okay, so so there is going to be one of these obstacles is going to be significant because you didn't roll a 10 plus.
Mhm.
So are you after a harmful, pleasant location, unpleasant location, a questionable or unsavory act, an interposing guardian or defense, or your burden or someone else's?
So first off, what I wanted to get is I'm really interested in getting in getting other scans this thing have done, whatever they are. That's what I'm interested in.
Okay. I think that you will find scans of several other ships.
Awesome.
And the impression you get is that it might have scanned more ships, but it doesn't have the data capacity to hold it all.
That's cool. I mean, we can then go into trying to receive the deleted data from the hard drive, which is always cool. I'm like really thinking about those options. So what did my earlier infiltrate gave me? Am I able to like remove the hard drive easily?
Yes.
Or
yeah, you can get that. But I think what I'm asking you, I think, is that as you're doing that and getting an impression of the data, I want to know what obstacle you're going to encounter.
I'm kind of thinking that by now, this thing is probably getting somewhere and my team is probably hot on our tail. I think that this thing is getting somewhere. I cannot simply jump off. Jumping on the shuttle is one option. And I think I see like the docking port for this thing, whatever it is. Maybe it's like protected by lasers. I'm basically choosing the third option. Like there is some guardian or defense. This thing is, so I envision that this is coming to a port or something.
Well, you tell me what you want, an interposing guardian or a defense, right? Mm-hmm. And that will be a significant one. Mm-hmm. Or so increase, or I could choose something else. I am going to add to that a harmful or unpleasant location. Mm-hmm. Because it is approaching the edge of the plate. Okay. And I think shortly you are going to be out there beyond the edge of the plate. but at the same time, what I'm seeing is the shuttle, using its just launching off the side of the ace, spinning around and taking off after. So my question to Riley and Gemma is, what is your objective now you're in the shuttle and in pursuit?
So I feel like we're mainly out here to rescue Harper if that becomes necessary. But I kind of want to also know, where is this drone taking him?
Well, what I think the scanners, the sensors on the shuttle will tell you that it is heading towards the edge of this, because you came into this plate, so you've got a decent sensor map of this plate in terms of shape and size. So and now you've got Harper's suit certainly has a tracker in it, so you've got this kind of beep 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 moving across to this edge of the map, the edge of the world in a way. So I think you are going to be able to catch it because you can travel a lot faster than it can. So Harper, do you want the shuttle to get there before you reach the edge?
I mean, yes, jumping on the moving shuttle is far more interesting than just jumping down. So
okay. So I've still got in my mind a harmful, unpleasant location, and an interposing guardian or defense to play with. So let's have the shuttle come up, and it's like the drone is standing still. You're having to throttle the shuttle back to barely be moving. Happily, the gravity is fine, so you're not having to rely on wings or anything. Gemma, what are you doing at this point, if anything?
Yeah, so I think I'm envisioning, as we're pulling up, so that Riley is piloting the shuttle, and I'm envisioning maybe that there's like a hatch or something that they can kind of come out to, so that to help Harper, like if he jumps to try to to help him or catch him or so whatever, to help him with that.
Okay, so the question is, Harper, then, do you want to jump across to the shuttle and then you can decide collectively whether you then follow the drone wherever it's going?
Yeah, I think that's a proper way. Riding it's kind of dangerous at this point. So yeah, I will collect my grapple hook, line, and everything, and I will get ready to jumping from the moving drone with some fancy fans to shuttle.
Yeah, because we can only suppose that drone is going to be less effective now that you have just taken a chunk of its internal electronics with you.
Yes.
So let's have you face adversity. I think this has to be agility, doesn't it? Roll with precision. But I think the fact that Gemma is putting themselves at some risk, at least, to be at the airlock door to catch you when you jump, I think you can roll with advantage. So roll plus precision, but roll 3 dice with advantage.
That's a 10 total.
And I think that the advantage dice mattered. So I think, Gemma, how do we see you help when Harper, because it's low gravity, so there's that kind of leap into space thing going on. But how does Gemma actually then help reel Harper in without any difficulties?
Yeah, I think Harper, in his normal flamboyant way, pops up on. He's standing up on top of it now, and he does a sort of leaps in like he's whatever, and it's pretty clear that he's not going to
Yes.
And you see it start to happen, and then all of a sudden she just reaches out and grabs the arm and just pulls him in, and then he just is like, just like I planned it. he's like, yep, exactly like I thought. So
Airlock closes, airlock cycles, and you come back into the shuttle. And I think that you see the drone reach the edge of the plate and then drop like a stone. Do you go over the edge of the plate? Yeah.
yes.
The shuttle sails over the edge of the plate and turns round to see what, or orientates itself so we can see what it. and you can see that the drone is dropping towards an enormous spaceship that is a kilometer across. And you just didn't see it because its systems were off. It was disguised by the plate. So it's this enormous structure hovering in some way beneath the plate. But it's, no, it's less than, it's half a kilometer across, and who knows how deep. And that is where we'll pause this session. As lights begin to wink on the surface of that structure. Yeah, okay. Let's have a quick stars and wishes. Let's keep with the order. So let's start with Joe. Any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, for sure. Definite stars to both you guys on, the characters. I love the anything for science, right? Like, let's I think that's awesome. And then Harper's, a true space cowboy. That's all I can say, right? I mean, it's kind of perfect. So, and then from a wishes, I don't know if I have any. Just I'm interested in letting the story, keep playing out as it is. I mean, nothing is happening as we have expected it, I think, at least as I've expected it, and that's been pretty awesome, right? So, we're taking a lot of left turns and things like that. So I'm interested in just letting those left turns keep happening. So,
Gray, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool, fun adventure we've gotten ourselves into. I'm excited to see where it goes next. I really like the developing friendship between Riley and Gemma. I think that's really interesting. And I also enjoyed seeing Sureshot lassoing a drone.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a lasso to be involved. I have to say, I thought that maybe he brought a Zandoran lasso with him, but the grapple gun was great. Okay, any wishes?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, what about you, Pavel? Any stars, any wishes?
I really love all of the lore with the order that we have developed. We learned I really like how we learned something more about Gema and her title and her faction and their faction. I really like Riley pursuit of knowledge and the reaction to being fired upon. And yeah, I really enjoyed the session alone, being inside such a weird mystery. It's really cool. I really like it. It gives me all of the vibes, the like unknown, discovery, weird stuff, old tech, new tech. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun over here. Wishes? I don't know. I'm kind of like afraid that it will take us the next two sessions just to unravel it, but I'm not in any rush. So it's cool. Do I have any other wishes? You already fulfilled all of my high space bars on different planets. This is definitely riding on those, especially different planets. Now we are inside some sphere, so that's really cool. Do I have something productive? Already done the space cowboy. Just more of the same. I'm really like where this is going.
Wherever that might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I would want to give some stars here. I think, Joe, the creation of that, all that lore kind of off the cuff, really good stuff. Well done. I like that a lot. I did enjoy Harper. I so wanted someone to get outside and, have a look at the drone, because we'd kind of forgotten about it. So that, and then when you jumped on it and then rolled as badly as you did, that was just a gift. So thank you for that. And yeah, Gray, I mean, Riley, I'll do anything for science, but they're shooting at us. That kind of moment was great, I thought. And I have to say, I'm quite liking the way that the system is just throwing all this kind of narrative power in your direction because you've created this, guys. This is all your fault. My wish is, I'd quite like to see where this mystery is going to lead. I've got a couple of ideas, but who knows? It'll depend on your dice rolls. So no, that was a great session. I enjoyed that, and any system that can go from cowboy train robbery to inside a planet in 2 sessions has got something going for it, I think. So let me stop the recording.